Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lace Up channel. My name's Mickey. Today I'm going to tell you how to track raw materials in your warehouse so you minimize your waste, okay? So you increase your production yield and so your warehouse is as productive as possible when it comes to ordering and when it comes to making sure that you don't stock product that's not moving. Anyways, if that sounds interesting to you, I want you to hit the like button. I want you to subscribe to the channel. Anyways, let's get right into it. So last week, I closed a deal for a huge nutrition manufacturing company that wanted me to track all the raw goods in their raw good inventory warehouse. Literally, they have this huge warehouse. Imagine, it's got racks and racks and racks of ingredients or raw goods utilized to produce their finished goods. Their problems are they've got no idea what this product is, where it is, why it's moving from the warehouse, whether or not they need to order it. They're lost in their inventory. So they invited me down to their warehouse to take a look at everything and give them a recommendation to solve their problem. Here's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was wrap my head around their entire process. So the process is fairly straightforward. Product gets received in from vendors, product gets labeled, product gets put on a bin location. Then they receive batch orders, so manufacturing orders that have the recipe for a production or a finished good. And all they do is they take that batch order, they pick the product from the bins, and they send it over to production, where production takes the quantities that they need, and then they return the product back to the raw materials warehouse. Now, what problems did they have? They had a bunch of problems. Within the warehouse itself, they had no idea where any of the product was. That's problem number one. Problem number two, anytime they take product to production and bring it back, there would be less of that product remaining in the case that it was located. So imagine a case of some kind of chemical weighs 5 pounds, they send it to production, production consumes 2.6 pounds, it returns with 2.4, the system would still read 5 pounds. This is terrible because you have no idea what your real inventory is. Not just that, after not knowing where the product was, not knowing how much they were consuming, the next product was that they're constantly having out of stocks. Out of stocks mean that you run out of product and now you have to wait for your vendor to deliver that product, so you lose sales that entire time in between the time you place the order and you actually receive the product. And at times, if the product is even coming overseas, it takes forever to arrive. So you end up missing sales for a huge amount of time. So these are the three main problems, and they had me come in and said, Mickey, I want you to solve this. What will it take? So my mind starts turning and I came up with the following game plan. When product gets received into the warehouse, it's fairly straightforward. We're gonna label every single pallet if it's a non-weighted item, and we're gonna label every single case if it's a weighted item. So this little label contains a QR code, it contains the lot, the expiration date, it contains the weight if it's a weighted item. That label gets pasted on the case or it gets pasted on the pallet. Now at that point, somebody comes with a little gun and they scan the case or they scan the pallet, and the system will tell them exactly where it goes in the warehouse. They then take the forklift or the cart, they place that product on it and they take it to its location. When they arrive, they must scan the bin location in order to give that product entry to a bin location. Now, all raw materials must be received into an overstock location because below there is a picking location where product gets picked every time there's a batch order put in to manufacture a product. So anyways, now we have the product stacked in overstock. We've got product being rotated down to the picking level. It rotates down based on first in, first out. For those of you that don't know, first in, first out is the process that enables you to rotate out the oldest product first. Now, when the picker in the warehouse receives their document, the document says, here's what the production is gonna be, here's the batch number, here are the ingredients, go pick it, okay? We've got two ways to adjust that. We could take that order and put it digitally in a scanner, that's one option. Or secondly, they can simply initiate a transfer from the warehouse over to the production center. But for the purposes of this conversation, let's focus on having that batch document in the gun. So in the gun, they open up the batch document and they tells them exactly where they need to go to start picking. So they arrive at the bin location. This is the most critical part. They have to scan the bin location and the system will tell them exactly how much of the product that's supposed to go on that batch order is residing in that bin location. They then pick the product. Okay, let's say that they take 5 pounds of a certain chemical that's going to be used in production. Okay, let's say that they remove it from the bin location by scanning the bin location, and then they proceed to take it over to the production area. That's going to initiate a transfer from that bin location to the production area where that quantity will get consumed. Now, Here's the key, especially for those of you that have raw materials that have a weight associated. It goes to production, it's gonna come back, okay? The production batch order said it was supposed to consume 2.5 pounds. Let's say for argument's sake, it's a 5-pound box. But when it comes back, you put a scale in your warehouse, in your raw materials warehouse, and you weigh the case. Now, what the case actually weighs is your yield. So let's say you were supposed to consume 2.5 pounds, but you actually consumed 2.7. Well, you've just lost 0.2 pounds of that item, and our system records that for the customer. Not just that, when they scan the item, the system will reassociate the newly updated weight to that particular case, and when you scan it, the system will tell the picker or the warehouse individual exactly where to take that case and what bin to put it in. So they then take the case, put it into the corresponding bin, and now the system knows exactly where that product is should it be needed again. And with that method, the system can literally transfer back and forth to production and to the raw materials warehouse the product until the case runs dry. So now we've covered receiving and production. The last thing the customer asked me about, what about counts? How are we supposed to count these raw materials? Well, counting is really straightforward. All you have to do is you walk up to any bin location, okay? You scan the bin and the system will tell you exactly what's supposed to be in there. Then you take and you start counting the goods within the bin location and you input that into the handheld. The system will adjust any differences, okay, and take those differences and export them over to the accounting system. So effectively, we've given this customer the tool to receive in raw materials, to transfer those raw materials to production, to transfer them back, to calculate the yield and the loss of those raw materials, and then to restock those raw materials to ensure that the picker is as effective as possible when it comes to walking up and down the racks to pick the product as fast as possible. All in all, this solution, okay, whether it's with LaceUp or anyone else, is gonna save this company probably hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And for bigger companies, we're talking in the millions. So if you are looking for a solution that's gonna track your raw materials, check out an inventory management. It doesn't need to be ours, but you need to get something in place to get your raw goods under control and get your production under control so that you can depend on your inventory and actually focus on making money as opposed to limiting your loss. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I really look forward to providing weekly content every single week that could benefit you and your company. And if you have any questions, hit me down directly in the comments. I'll make sure to get back to you personally. Apart from that, thank you so much for tuning in and have a great day. Take care.